Hello everyone and welcome back to another ant keeping video. With it being summer now, my ants are getting much more active and growing faster. Today, I will be talking about various colonies and how they have been affected by the heat. First of all, my Myrmecocystus mexicanus, a favorite of mine who have been booming. Once summer came, the queen laid new eggs, as I mentioned in the last video. I got worried because of the time it took for her to lay again, but thankfully, there are new eggs. They seem to be a lot more willing to eat their nectar and insects as well. During the winter, they would barely accept anything and were pretty dormant. Now, they have been eating a lot more and are able to finish a liquid feeder of nectar in as little as 2 days. Because of this feeding, they have gained a lot more repletes, which they have also started producing a lot more of. Just look at how many small repletes are in the main chamber. I've also noticed that a big replete died recently. She is still lying on the floor of the nest, and I've seen my honeypots save dead replete bodies before, as they still contain that sweet nectar that I feed them. It's a pretty smart tactic, as they don't want anything to go to waste. The queen has continued to do her duty as well over the past month, laying even more eggs. A lot of the eggs that I mentioned last time are now cocoons, and there is also a good amount of larvae and more new eggs. Their general activity also seems to be rejuvenated by the heat. The colony is always busy, and when I check on them, there is a lot more outworld activity than there used to be a couple months ago. All these good signs will lead to faster growth of the colony so that they can fill up all of those empty chambers. Next, my Aphaenogaster megomata colony, while at the same worker count, has a lot of brood. The queen has been pumping new eggs out, and they have a very nice looking batch of eggs. They also have around 7 medium-sized larvae, which are all quite uniform in size. They also seem to have some very small larvae amidst the egg pile. These gals are perhaps the most chill in my ant room, and they don't seem to care all that much when I check up on them. The queen has always been like this, and the workers are the same way. I wonder if the stress level is colony to colony, or it's the same for all colonies of one species. There are so many different species with unique characteristics, which are not only physical, but some even seem to have different personalities in a way. Some species, like Novomessor, have been extremely curious, but cautious in my experience, while the species like Solenopsis are always on the aggressive side, and threaten to escape during every feeding. That's just part of why ants are such interesting creatures. Back to the Aphaenogaster, they should be growing strong now. They as well have been jump-started by the new summer heat. They have remained at a similar worker count for a while, but it was probably just another case of the colder winter and the ants' internal body clocks telling them the time of year, despite me keeping them on the heat cable. I hope that these beautiful ants will be another colony to boom. A recently introduced colony is my new Pheidole navigans colony, collected fairly recently. Since last video, these have been doing pretty well. I hardly check up on the test tube, mostly because it is an inconvenience to take it out from the outworld without escapees, but I think it's helping them grow in the darkness. They are one of my favorites to view outworld activity. They always seem to be foraging. The colony has plenty of space, as I have them in the biggest outworld I have ever gotten my hands on. It is the chromatoproof outworld bought from Formicultute, designed to keep smaller escape artists inside, like Aphaenogaster ants. This is why it was a good choice for these tiny gals, as I have had escape troubles with previous Pheidole navigans colonies. These ants aren't picky at all, able to finish a small liquid feeder of nectar very quickly, and easily hollowing out mealworms. So far, these ants are surprisingly pretty clean, but this is probably just due to the short time I've had them. In my experience, this species can get pretty messy, like a lot of other Pheidole species. I've also noticed one or two small spiders previously set up webs there, occasionally catching a quick meal of an ant. I'm not worried about this, since one or two extra worker deaths isn't a big deal. Pheidole are partially known for the short worker lifespans as well. Stress-wise, this colony is pretty easily shaken when I remove the foil cover of the nest. This is mostly because of the rare checkups on the test tube, so the ants aren't used to being exposed to many lights and vibrations. I mentioned last time that there were a lot of majors, but it's probably just due to me collecting more and it would even out over time. That theory seems to be correct, as there's now an even worker and major count, and they are evening out even further with more workers than majors. I'm hoping they will continue to grow and grow to their max size in the future. With that should wrap up today's video. The colonies are booming with the warm weather and will continue to, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and peace out.